If I had to restart cybersecurity today, no connections, no degree advantage, no shortcuts, just a laptop and 90 days, this is the exact roadmap I would follow to land a security engineering role, and I'm going to break it down step by step, including what most people waste time on and what actually works. Here's where most people fail. They start with certifications. They spend months studying theory, memorizing definitions, collecting badges, and then they apply for jobs and get rejected. Why? Because companies are not hiring certifications. They're hiring capability. They want to know, can you analyze logs? Can you detect threats? Can you respond to incidents? And if you can't prove that, you don't get hired. Now let's start with the first 3 weeks. You don't need to master everything. You need working understanding. Focus on 3 things. First, networking. Understand IP addresses, DNS, TCP, and UDP, and how data actually moves, because every cyber attack happens over a network. Second, Linux basics. Learn file navigation, permissions, and basic commands. Most security tools run on Linux. If you're uncomfortable here, you'll struggle later. Third, system fundamentals. Understand how operating systems work, including processes, memory, and logs, because attackers exploit systems, not just networks. Don't get stuck here. Move fast. This is where most people quit and where you start winning. Now you move into hands-on labs. Use platforms like TryHackMe or Hack the Box, but don't just click through exercises. Treat it like a job. Ask yourself what is happening, why it is vulnerable, and how you would detect this in real life. This phase builds confidence, pattern recognition, and real-world exposure. And this is what hiring managers care about. Now we level up. You are no longer just learning. You are simulating real work. Focus on incident response. What happens when a system is compromised, and how do you investigate it? Focus on log analysis. Look at logs from systems and identify suspicious activity. Focus on detection thinking. Ask how you would detect an attacker early. This is where you transition from beginner to engineer mindset. You stop asking what something is and start asking how to defend against it. This is the most important phase, because skills without proof do not get you hired. You need projects, documentation, and a visible portfolio. Examples include a phishing attack analysis, a log investigation report, or basic detection rules. Put everything on GitHub or a simple portfolio. Now, you are not saying you learned cybersecurity. You are saying you can do cybersecurity. Here is the truth. Most people will not tell you. You do not need to be the best. You need to be better than the average applicant. And the average applicant has certifications, but no real projects and no hands-on experience. If you follow this plan, you are already ahead. So here is what you do next. Start today. Begin with networking basics. Move into hands-on labs within the first week. Simulate real scenarios within 60 days. Build your portfolio within 90 days. Cybersecurity is one of the few careers where skill beats background, so do not wait. Start building now. Let me give you a real-world example so this makes sense. Imagine a company detects unusual login activity from an employee account at 3 a.m. At first glance, it might seem harmless, but when you dig deeper, you notice multiple failed login attempts from different locations, followed by a successful login from a foreign IP. Now the question becomes, is this a compromised account? This is where your skills come in. You analyze logs, check authentication patterns, and look for indicators of compromise. You might discover that credentials were stolen through phishing. Now you are not just learning cybersecurity, you are actively thinking like a security engineer. And this is exactly what companies are looking for. They are not looking for people who can define cybersecurity. They are looking for people who can respond to situations like this. Another important point most people miss is consistency. You cannot learn cybersecurity by watching videos occasionally. You need structured repetition. That means setting aside time daily to practice, test, and refine your skills. Even 1 hour per day compounds quickly. After 30 days, you are already ahead of most beginners. After 60 days, you start seeing patterns. After 90 days, you start thinking like an engineer. And that shift is what changes everything. Because once you start thinking differently, your approach to problems becomes more structured and effective. Now let's talk about the biggest mistakes that slow people down. The first mistake is overloading on certifications without building real skills. Certifications can help, but they are not a replacement for hands-on experience. The second mistake is passive learning. Watching videos without practicing does not build capability. You need to actively engage with what you are learning. The third mistake is not documenting your work. If you do not track what you are learning, you cannot show proof to employers. And the fourth mistake is inconsistency. Doing a lot for 1 week and then stopping for 2 weeks will not get you results. Progress comes from steady, consistent effort. If you avoid these mistakes, you will move much faster than most people trying to break into cybersecurity. Let's quickly talk about the tools that will accelerate your progress. Start with platforms like TryHackMe or Hack the Box. These give you structured, hands-on environments to practice real scenarios. Next, get familiar with basic logging and monitoring tools. Even simple exposure to how logs look and behave will give you an advantage. You can also explore tools like Wireshark to understand network traffic. And if you want to go further, start looking into SIEM platforms. You do not need to master everything. The goal is exposure, because once you understand how these tools work, you become much more confident in real environments, and confidence is a major factor in getting hired. One final thing to understand is that this journey is not about perfection. It is about progress. You are going to feel confused at times. You are going to feel like you are not learning fast enough, and that is completely normal. What matters is that you keep moving forward, because every hour you spend learning and practicing puts you ahead of someone who is still thinking about starting. Cybersecurity rewards action, not intention. So if you take anything from this video, let it be this. Start now, stay consistent, and build real skills. That is the path that works.